evening and a very warm welcome to the Real Talk. How are you doing? You know, the entire month of February is known as the Lovers Month, and I hope that your love life is organized, not as disorganized as some people's lives. Welcome to the show to share with us your thoughts on the Real Talk as we have a conversation on relationships. Our guest today has done a research on marital conflict assessment, and I landed on that document, then thought, why not invite her over for us to have a conversation? We hear about divorce all the time, and so today we're going to ask, is it possible for that to be avoided? And if it cannot be avoided, can it be peaceful so that the harm is lessened? Please do stay with us, share the link. We're live on TV and on YouTube. To share the links that we have as many people join the conversation. We are at Mythos Boutique Hotel in Kiyovu. Check them out on Twitter at Hotel Mythos, and there's a restaurant upstairs, Atmosphere_KGL. That's their Twitter handle. Let's meet our guests. Welcome to the show. My name is Jackie Lumbasi. Thank you for sparing time to join us. Our hashtag is The Real Talk. Our guest is Marie Goretti. She's a researcher, a counselor, and a professional mediator. It is a pleasure to see you, Marie.
Thank you very much, Jackie, for
How
having me
have
here.
you been?
I'm okay.
You know, I really looked forward to meeting you after reading your work. You've done a great job out there researching on marital conflict. Just before we go back to where you were born, that background, why did you pick interest in marital conflict?
Interesting.
Just briefly, because we will get into details later.
In fact, I was born in a family, dad and mom, and I am the firstborn. And I can remember good times the way my parents were in love, because I am the firstborn. And yes, and
How many children are you?
I am the first, and we had five, and one has died during genocide,
So
and
you're four.
now we are four, three brothers and myself.
You're the only girl.
But also we have other many just adopted children, because our family has love. Even now my mother is still adopting some lost children.
You still have both your dad and mom around?
No, I have only my mom, and she's 70. She
Okay.
has done the 70 years.
Wow, we thank God for a long life.
Yes.
Okay, so in that family, Marie, so it sounds like it was a happy, beautiful, small family. 5 children are not
Yeah.
many. That was a good one.
One thing I can remember is that my dad, I was just loved my mother, and also was very happy when my mother has given birth. From the firstborn as I am,
He
he
loved
was
receiving the
just
children.
serving, going to the kitchen, and himself he was cooking for her and inviting people to come and enjoy, just rejoice for the newborn. So you see, that love of family, he had it.
Okay.
And also my mother was a very hard working woman, so in fact hard working women are loved.
They're loved.
Yes.
So as a girl, and the only girl surrounded by brothers, when did you get the understanding of my dad and my mom are a couple that are married and they're a happily married couple? At what age did you understand that? And then at what age then did you start envisioning yourself as a married woman someday with children and her husband?
Interesting. Those are dreams of all girls. You ask me about how I have discovered that love, that parenting responsibility, whatever. Because from since which years I was just even 3 years I was seeing, and especially when I was 5. The time I started my maternal, just my preschool, yeah. I went to the preschool in that age, 70, in 90, I was just, we had that chance because we were living in Kanombe near the airport. I went just to preschool. I was just accompanied, I was loved, I was cared of. Every time people just were just fearing somebody who has a caring father. That sense of security, that sense of parenting, I grow just dreaming that I can also one day have those children in a good environment, protected, cared of. That is the story of good family.
Yes. Was that kind of scenario common? What you were seeing in your house, were you seeing it in the other homes or families around you?
In fact, I can't just forget to say that some conflict were around, but everyone was conflicting but reconciling. It's like my mother had said, I will never, never leave my children. And my father maybe has said in his heart, I will never, never just divorce my wife. Because after conflict, I saw just reconciliation. Every
Make up
time,
to make up.
and around us, I saw some other families where conflict was like separating fact. They had just divorced because of that. And I saw many children suffering, becoming street children because of that event, that unloved circumstance, which is divorce, which is separation. And all the time I was fearing. That's why I had to both things, good dreams of family and fear of bad family. That was me from the time I was adolescent. Conflicting in me. Am I going to have a good family that
Like a
I
good wife,
desire?
a good mother?
That I desire? Am I going to? Oh my God! If
There was a fear.
what
that you
if
wouldn't be.
I failed to have a good marriage? Those are the things that were in my mind.
So in college, what did you study?
In secondary school, I did modern languages. Rwanda, Swahili, French, and English. That's why I can try now. And in this,
Speak all those languages.
and in university, I did law. But finally, I didn't like to become a judge. Maybe because of trauma. I didn't want to judge, but I wanted still to prevent crimes. That's why I said, okay, let me know about men and women. In my master's degree, I did gender and development. However, that was not, it's like that was not enough. I continued to do peace building courses. I did even in a Daystar University in Kenya. I had a diploma in conflict resolution, yes, and peace building. And I continually had many other trainings, short courses on trauma healing in a Christian way that made me a just Christian counselor from 2000 and something like that. 25 years I am doing
Ooh,
that.
25 years you've been doing this. Let us go back to where it started then. You are coming from this very happy and loving family. You're talking today about trauma. You're talking about healing. Is there a stage that we have missed in your life? When did this become something that you would pursue passionately? Did you get married? How did that work out? You know, what made you take this journey?
I may say that I mentioned earlier that in our family we had both peace and conflict. But I loved that my parents knew how to resolve their conflict, and that time I have loved peace in the family, but also I have feared conflict in the family because of both existing. Yes, and that was the cause of maybe the fear that's why people say, psychologists say that never fear, just fear to have fear. But that happened to me, that what I dreamed finally ended in my fears.
What happened to you?
What I desired, good family, happy family, I had. But not all, that's when we celebrated our fourth year of marriage, that was not working very well.
How old were you when you got married?
In fact, because of those fear, I delayed. I I married at 35,
Okay.
and at that age,
Mm.
it's like I was just think to myself, am I becoming a nun? They will not accept me
At
because
that age, they would admit
they was
you.
because even before when I finished my secondary school,
Yeah.
I tried to convince my mother that I wanted to go to become a nun,
Yes.
and she said, "Okay, go and tell to your dad." I said, "Please, can you tell him on my behalf?" She said, "I can't. You are the only girl. You are the firstborn. How can you
How
go
can you send you
instead
to
of helping
like
your
that?
brothers in the world and have a family? How can you go like that?" I said, "Okay, I wanted even to free the family and go to non community, and it took me one month, the whole month of insomnia, without sleeping, just thinking about what to do, and that is how I decided to say, okay, now let me accept what will happen to me
If I get married,
if I get
let me
married.
get in.
Am I going to
If
fight?
it
Am I going
works,
to fly out? Because in the trauma there are three things: you fight, you squeeze, or you you become
enriched, without
yes,
necessarily showing it physically.
or
Yeah?
you fly.
Mm.
So it happened to me to think those three things because the marriage was not working.
So your marriage, you said, so you met this man and you get married to. I assume he was a good man. I also want
Of
to assume
course, and I
you
had a
took your
good
time
time.
and you had a good time. But then you're
Yes.
saying in the fourth year, when you're celebrating your fourth anniversary, things were not good. If you had a good time, you're a good woman. He's a good man. You took time to know him before you got married. Why was it falling apart in such a short time?
Yes,
What was happening in
we
that
had a
relationship?
traumatic event. Like my firstborn died after one day of birth, and when I tried to have another child because I wanted even to just uh, to have everything in a short time that I was thinking, because
And
I
you think you're running out of time.
that
Because if
yes,
you started getting pregnant
you
at
get the
35,
point.
I feel you.
I said, okay, let me just try, and I miscarried. The
That is the
second,
second one.
that is the second loss. In fact, when you lose through miscarriage, people can't understand you rose, and you had the expectation from just the time you conceived your child, and no one else can understand how you are mourning. And that's the second time that I thank God, because I have now the Mugisha. There is a son that we call the Mugisha, Jihozo. His father called him Jihozo, saying that's a consolator. Yes, because he came after those things, that rose. And when I wanted to just to say, okay, let me have the third part, the
Yes.
second child, I miscarried again.
You miscarried again.
And that was very traumatic. It's not only to me, but to my husband, to the father of the children. It's like he started to say, what is wrong with Goretti? What's wrong? It's like that there was a time to start problems.
Were you people talking about it? Because when
Eh,
you're going through this, are you going through it as a couple, or are you mourning independently? He's doing his things independently, or were you finding time to sit down and discuss the losses, mourn, laugh, cry, pray together?
that's the good point that you are raising, because it is now just the main cause which just brought me to think about uh, uh, family counseling before the time does run out. Uh, in that time, I think we could have consulted the counselor, family counselor,
But you did
who
not.
we didn't. And that was a good time to be counseled, to be helped to know that marriage is not only happiness, is about the challenges, and is about traumatic events. So we didn't have that person, and that has just brought some consequences, because I started to see just somebody physically but not emotionally. Sometimes it's like I was surprised It was just a different person.
From the one you married.
Because of those traumatic events. And that has just provoked also other events that he had just lived from genocide trauma. That has become too much. That's why I say, okay, maybe in this country we need counselors, especially family counselors, because all the trauma from the childhood, from the youthhood, just far on the marital marriages. That's why
we
could have.
We talk about high divorce rates, but we're not talking about the root cause.
The root cause
from
trauma, from childhood trauma. Those when we just brought all the things. I'm not innocent. So when you are traumatized and you live with a person who is traumatized, it becomes a fire.
In some cases, you will traumatize each other.
Yeah. You give what you have. So this is why before engaging in marriage, people should just meet with somebody and they just go back to the history, to the childhood, to the traumatic event that you went through, so that you can settle everything before you get engaged in that lifetime where peace is needed, where hearing, where listening to each other is needed, where good and peaceful communication is needed. You can't do that without that peace in your heart, in your mind.
You've got to have peace before you can give it to someone else. In total, how many years did you stay married to this man?
We did 7, but...
you did 7 years.
But 4...
And yet in the fourth anniversary, there were issues. How did you go through the
3 ones were very traumatic.
Must have been hell on earth.
Yeah, that was... you were not just... You were just living in the same place, but not in the same...
Together.
You are not, no togetherness, because that separation caused by just the traumatic events that we went through. That's why I say, oh my God, I will just be just a trauma advocate. People need to be just helped.
Marie, I know people that have gone through what you went through and decided to hang in there for the sake of children or society. They don't want to be judged. What will people say about me? What will say? How did you reach the decision to separate?
Not me. When I wanted just to, as I saw, I told you that I lived both in my original family, conflict and peace. And when there had just was a conflict, just there was a reconciliation because of the sake of us,
your children.
Our children, and that union. They had to work very hard to keep it. And when I had all those things, in fact, I forgot to say that as a psychosomatic illness, I had high blood pressure because of those things. And when I went to the doctor, told me, you either bring him and we just will recommend you to the counselor and the psychologist, or you leave because you risk to be stroke. That's why I said, okay, I can go and wait for him for reconciliation. That time was not just a good time to think doubly, but it was time to jump to the court. That's why I'm saying, of course I'm not innocent, because I could have maybe stayed in the fight. Instead of flying, as I was. You
decided to fly.
I fried.
But you know, it had been 7 years, Marie. Anyway,
I fried.
You tried. I'm sure you tried. You stayed there for 7 years.
3 years of conflict. 3 years of conflict and the many silence. That was too much for me.
That was too much. Yeah, you did your best.
And I told you that because of that trauma and some kind of psychological problems due to that conflict, I developed that high blood pressure, and I was almost... It was
going to kill you.
And that's why the doctor told me, please, you have to do 2 things. You convince your husband to come and we talk to you, or you go out so that you can survive. And I said, no, this is this is not a Christian. I went to the pastor and I told him everything, and he told me, okay, you have to choose. You choose yourself. If you think you can even die, you have to choose life. Sometimes we say that the divorce is last choice.
Was your divorce peaceful, or was it
no,
tough one? Was there a lot of
that's
emotion
why
involved?
I'm not only counselor, but I'm mediator. Mediation comes just to have peace, even in separation. You were taught by just a professional how to be responsible, how to continue to be in peaceful relationship even after
And if you have
separation.
a child or children, you're going to co-parent.
For the
You
sake
can
of
only
the
do that in a
children,
peaceful environment.
for the sake of the children, because there's a custody, the one who stayed with children or a child has to know how to continue to save that relationship, parental relationship, father's relationship or mother's relationship with his parent or their parents. That's why mediation is very needed.
We're going to take a short break, Marie. When we come back, let's talk about that mediation. And I can see you also came with
Some
paraphernalia,
demonstration.
a lot of things. I want to see what these are for.
Yes.
We're talking to Marie Goretti. She's a researcher, a counselor, and a professional mediator. I love that we're talking about relationships, and we normally talk about divorce, but then is there a way we can avoid that conversation? Can we find a way of couples managing issues before things are so bad that they have to part ways? Because it's possible. From what I hear from Marie is there are causes that have been left undealt with. But if we find that and deal with it, maybe then we will not get to that point where we are divorcing. But if things are so bad that we have to divorce, how do we ensure that we do that harmoniously? Do stay with us. My name is Jackie. Our guest is Marie. We are at Mythos Boutique Hotel. When you find time, you should go to their website or find them on the different social media platforms. They're looking forward to hosting you. We'll be back in a short while. Welcome back to The Real Talk. Thank you for making time to join us. Use that hashtag in case you have any questions. And if you reach out, even on social media, both Marie and I will respond to you. If you have a question, send it to my DM. I will forward it to her, and I will get back to you with a response. So, Marie, just before you demonstrate this, you and your husband separated, and then you mentioned when we were off air about waiting and hoping that he would reconcile, but that never happened. I'm wondering why you decided to wait for it after divorce, and yet during the process, a couple is given several months to try and talk to each other and see if there's the possibility of reconciling. You don't just go sit in front of someone and they tell you sign the paper. So why did you wait until you had put pen to paper for you to start praying that your husband will come back for reconciliation?
Jackie, I'm a Christian. I'm Christian, and the Bible says that God first dislikes divorce. He hates divorce. And because I believe in one thing, that marriage is God's project. And the Bible says in Genesis 18 that the husband should leave his family and get and become one with his wife. And that operates also on the side of the woman. I've left everybody and I came to my husband, who loved me. I have a good memories on how he called me angel. Yeah, sometimes.
He called you angel. When we were
in the green. Yes. When we were in the green relationship. And that has changed because of those circumstances I told you. Yeah. That's why I never thought that my husband was bad, because I know that what was wrong was the life that he has lived
before he met you.
Even me, I was not bad, because as I told you, no one is innocent in divorce circumstances, because you can just give what you are given back.
That's true.
You are fought, you fight. You
fight.
Yeah, that's why we need also the third person when we are in this relationship. It is yellow. You are no more green. because you are not able to resolve your conflict. When it is resolvable by both of you, only without the third person, you are in a green relationship.
So
that is the model.
So, Mary, let's now, before you start referring to green and yellow, take us step by step. What do these colors stand for? Start
Okay.
here.
In fact, I worked a long time with volunteers who were just in charge of child well-being when I was a manager in World Division in one area of Jesera, and we used to use green color to say that the child is okay. When it started to be scented, we used the color of the yellow color. And when the problems were very dangerous, the child leads to die, we use the red color.
Red stands for danger.
Yeah. And they told to my team, we are going now. We are now going to do the tool or to assess the conflict as we are working with the marital conflict, but we don't know the level of their conflict. Can we just do a tool and we just use colors, different colors, so that people can just get very, it can be easier to be used. We agreed, and we started now to know, to search and know the very, very root causes of conflict, or when it is good, the causes of a good marriage. And we saw that the first love is when it's kept. It's good when you keep that commitment, you keep your marriage. But that is not the one thing, because we have 10 things. I have to go very quickly. The second is the faith. When you know that there's a superpower to which you can go when things are impossible.
First one is first love. That time when you've
commitment.
seen each other. Commitment.
And the faithfulness.
And faithfulness.
Yes.
The second one is faith.
Faith.
When you acknowledge there's a superpower.
Yes. And also you share that superpower. You run to that superpower for your just problem solution. When you yourself, you don't know what to do. You have just another superpower that you believe in, which can help you to low intention. Yes.
Yes.
That the third is dedication, and also about that reproductive health. The way you are producing children, either girls or boys, honorary, or you know how to handle those problems, even when you don't have. That can be
because their families
without children, and they are okay, they are happy.
Exactly. There's another couple without children that is happy, then a couple without children, and they are almost killing each other, saying, you're the problem, let me go find another woman.
So when you know how to handle that problem, you are okay.
That is reproduction health in marriage.
Yes. And the children.
And children.
Sex, it is another matter. If
sex,
it can be another problem. The fourth is about those relationships.
Why aren't you going deeper into sex? Because people will just brush through it.
Sex, I mean boys important. And girl. But sex that I would have said was that in that commitment and the intimacy, which also is another problem. I could have talked about
you should have talked about it. That's very important.
But we have to rush.
So I will have you back here one day
no problem.
To dwell on that.
We can just have another time talking about point.
Each point, we will break
but
down.
Sex also, when it does, as a gender, I am allowed to talk about it, even in reproduction. It's a problem because when people go to other sex partners, they may compare to their partner and the outside partners. That's a problem. It brings a problem in a marriage. However, that is a very common problem because before marriage, nowadays, people have known other partners. That can be if
it marriage, it was just the two of you. But now there's someone out there who's showing the things.
So when you don't talk and when you don't know how to manage your ex-relationships in a way of discussing it with your now partner and the legal partner, it may bring other problems. you go out and you compare, or you
Because
are
there are no two
comparing
people
from
that
your
are exactly the
exes.
same.
That's a problem. So that is why we need a counselor before getting any ego and marital just relationship, which must be serious and the life. And
Marie, you know when
Right,
couples,
and the right
did you
relationship.
finish the points?
So I came back to the fourth.
Yes.
Just relationships with the groups,
Oh yeah.
your friends, even in rows relationships that can
Very
build
important.
can build or destroy your marital just
They can build or destroy that marriage.
yes. When they're good, they can come in and help. That's what we call family cohesion. When there is, even your family come to you and help. You cannot become poor when they are there, because they know, that is our family. But when you are not together, they can just jump on that broken relationship and start to take. They take their girl and the others take their boy.
Airport excites.
You see, the marriage is somehow built or destroyed by those
Those external
relationships.
relationships.
Yes.
And then the next.
The five is about how we communicate. Are we together in a way that we know how to handle our problems, our conflict? That is another. If you do well, that's good. We communicate, we listen to each other. That is very good. And the contrary is, it becomes when family doesn't communicate. It is a tool to destroy, or just seek communication where conflict prevails. That's a way of, you are going to the destruction.
What comes after communication?
After communication, there's also the way you are managing your family your family property. If you have just signed what we call that's a communauté de biens, or a universal community of goods, family goods, you agreed to bring together everything 50-50.
Whatever you came with into the marriage now belongs to both of us.
Not only men can say, my money is my money, not family money. And yet you have signed that you equal just 50-50. Or even a woman can just do it. She can say, my money is my family money. I can just enjoy my money. And I can continue to help my original family. That is a problem.
I don't want to say my money is mine, then my husband's money is our money.
It's the family money.
Yes, that's the family.
That's a problem. It brings also another conflict.
Another one after property.
Seventh is another problem of you just misusing the communication devices.
Phones. And now that we are in the digital
oh my
era.
goodness. You can imagine that it is a small thing, but as we did research, we saw that some people don't trust each other when they see them hiding their PIN,
yes,
their everything. When you go just to answer to your call, you go outside. Some people just joke and say. Some people joke and say that he's going to look for a network, and yet you're hiding somebody from your partner, and that
could cause conflict.
It causes conflict.
I've seen couples, Marie, that got together way back, our parents' age, and people older than them. By the time they got married, there were no phones, and these couples today are breaking up because of the phone. My father's age mate, my mother's age mate, breaking up because now the phone is not leaving their partner's hand. This is not something that they were prepared for.
It is not bringing together people, it is separating people.
It's separating people. Eighth one.
You are going to laugh. That irresponsibility in sharing tasks and everything at home.
House chores.
Yeah, that is another thing.
Men say they are not supposed to help with the baby, and another one says, I will not do the dishes.
And
they will not cook. That is the woman's work.
it's like one couple who was just living in Europe. A man was from here. No, both of them were Rwandese, and the man was a doctor. He was just a. The woman said that the chair that he used to use, I just was destroyed because all the time he's there, he's sitting, just watching TV. And one day she asked him, "Can you go and just pick the children because I have a problem. I don't go because the small child is sick." He said, "No, no, no. You call for the special taxi."
Really?
And yet it was too much.
And the man is just seated there on that chair.
That is the culture of sitting, and yet they have no domestic workers like we do here. They have to share every responsibility, every task, and do everything. And they think that having money to bring the gypsy and whatever it can satisfy her wife. No, she wants to see you participating in what is not biological. Jackie, what is biological? I mean, you cannot help me in giving,
carrying the pregnancy and giving birth.
But other things you can help. Please help your wives where it is possible. In our culture, it's not easy, but learn it. Especially when you are not in Rwanda, where you have domestic workers. That goes with the understanding of gender equality. Some men are confused, others are confusing gender equality and women's rights. And they think that they are attacked. That's why whatever I do as a workshop with the couples, I say, please tell me what you understand with the gender equality. Some of them say, the men said, gender equality is just women's rights. And the gender equality is others, is the way created by the devil just to reverse women's responsibilities, to make us weak people,
emasculate men.
Just to finish men's nature. And I said, oh my God. And we bring others who have understood gender equality and their role in family economic development. They say, we share everything. We do, when we do this and this, and after training, we have changed, and we see just the improvement in our everyday life. We have just started to run this and this because we work together.
So when there's a better understanding of these issues of what gender equality means, you find
it
couples,
builds the family, and the contrary destroys
the family.
That is on 9. The 10th one is people are no more committed to up to death marriage. It's like
they're no longer committed to it.
No.
Oh.
No commitment.
So even when they say those vows in front of their pastor,
as I told you, how I saw my mother and my father, my parents just committed
to this.
Even though
committed to each other.
Committed to each other, and
not anymore.
Not anymore.
What is happening now?
People just want to relax. People don't want just things which can they want to say in Rwanda we say sinshaka kwigora. People don't want to put burdens on their shoulders. It's like marriage. When it doesn't work, they run it to the court.
If it works, well and good. If it doesn't, I'll go to the court.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's where I want just to emphasize on knowing where to go to the counselor. When you see that your marriage is no more functioning, you are not able to resolve your problems, it has become. Now I can go to the demonstration.
It has become yellow.
When you are able to, as we agreed with my team, we use this to evaluate and to say that this family is okay. We have several questions, which is they are about 40, and when you square well and good, you have 80 out of 80, but no one can just do it, complete it. No. They are about 60. They are 60 about 80, and that is still great because we know that conflict is a part of life. Challenges are a part of life, especially in marital relationships. However, people think that they want this happy marriage, and yet even the Bible doesn't promise happiness in the world. We still, when you are born, you are candidate to the problems and the conflict, and the conflict has become normal in part of life. So when it is resolvable, when it's just a small one, you are green marriage. Your conflict is green. There is no
conflict
problem.
tonight, tomorrow you wake
You
up.
reconcile.
You reconcile. You're still green.
You are green.
When we cross to yellow.
That is, you start to have problems such as no communication, such as regretting. You regret, why did I marry him or her? You start to even not just to keep silent. You don't want to talk. Jackie,
when you see
you
each
can't
other,
imagine. You can't imagine woman silence or men silence. It kills physically. It is another kind of violence. Yes, you talk and he writes or she writes and he leaves the paper. You ask money, he gives to the domestic boy or girl instead of you. You suffer.
Torture. You suffer.
That torture. That becomes when you become hero. So you need a third part.
So when it gets to that point where you see your partner coming home and you face the other side, you don't want to talk to them, you want to give money to their house help. That is when it's yellow, and that is when you should seek outside help.
Yes, you are no more able to resolve your conflict. You have failed.
Yeah. Bring in someone. And some couples want to bring in a third party, but then there's this fear of being judged. Should couples be concerned about that, or should they be concerned about getting whatever help they can get to stay together?
In fact, the fact that just the way that you don't want to another person to come in, it's just trauma also, because you don't want to be healed. It's like you are sick, but you don't want to be healed. So can you imagine if you are sick and you avoid the doctor or just medical staff? That's another thing. You can just die in that situation. But if you say, okay, at this time I will pray for him, or I will just see how I can have parents to come in and the cancer, or because they failed, let me look for just professional. That's why we have many counselors who were trained by Bible Society, by many organizations, even in far reach. We have many, even Rioja, Life Wounds Healing. We have many trained volunteers.
Oh,
so if you fail to look for a counselor in this stage, your conflict becomes red. You start now to fight. You can, and it becomes red plus, which I didn't know how to put, but from red you become red plus.
There's red,
red, yes. Where you can even just commit suicide because people fear divorce. Even me, I had just said I will die in my marriage. Yeah, that's what I had vowed, isn't it? You, on altar, you vowed that you will die. You will be separated by death.
And so that's the point where someone can decide, let me kill myself instead of divorcing and being humiliated.
Yes, or I will accept to be killed by him
instead of
flying. Yeah. That is another trauma.
Where should government place family counselors?
On grassroots,
your specific interest is in family counseling.
At village level, we need people who are trained on family counseling. And let me tell you that we are confusing family counseling and family mediation. In fact, family mediation is Western. It is originally from Western countries. It was done when they wanted just a peaceful separation, peaceful divorce. However, in Rwanda, it's good that we want people to get reconciled instead of getting divorced. That's why we are encouraging even the mediators, professional mediators who are called court mediators. There are some of them working in the courts so that they can just prevent divorce. And yet, my coach and the mentor told me, no, Goretti, you have to know that, to remember that mediation, family mediation is done to help peaceful and responsible divorce or separation. You can't imagine the trauma among children because of their parents are
Marie,
divorced.
let us end this conversation here, but I certainly promise to invite you back because I feel like there's a lot you have touched on but simply stopped on the surface. Due to time constraint, we'll not continue talking, but we're going to have you back in the next few weeks. I will invite you over and we can see how to break down the different points that you have
Yes.
highlighted in this conversation.
Thank
You
you.
so much for sharing your story with us.
Thank you
And
for
thank you
inviting me.
for carrying that burden of family, because family is a very important unit.
Yeah, it's more
Marriage,
society.
exactly, it's a small society. And then marriage is supposed to glorify God. And today, as we see the trend, as you said, we're just getting in for the sake of getting in. So how do we make sure that people intentionally identify each other, get married to each other, and stay together? Thank you, Marie. We do appreciate you.
Thank you very much to you for your invitation.
Our guest today, Marie Goretti, she's a researcher, a counselor, and a professional mediator. My goodness, I wish I could continue listening to her. I feel like she's fed me so much information. It's been such a moment of learning, and I hope it was for you as well. We will certainly have Marie back. Thanks for joining us. I wish to have you share the link online on your different platforms so that we can have those that are meant to benefit from this conversation to benefit from it. My name is Jackie. We look forward to seeing you again next week. A big thank you to Mythos for hosting us. Take care.